You know, I wake up every morning, look at my freshly baked bread cooling on the counter, smell the aroma of my 5 successful businesses, and I wonder, why does everyone attack me? I mean, here I am, just a simple mother of 12. Well, 11, now that one of them has gone rogue, trying to live my best life with access to 100% of the family finances, 3 European passports, and approximately $80,000 to $100,000 in available credit. Is that so wrong? Is financial control really a crime when you're using it for good? Let me tell you about my son John, Sweet John, tattooed mom on his stupid leg. I said what I said, thinking that would impress me. As if I don't have standards, the boy shows up to my house in short shorts, flaunting his balanced leg tattoos like some kind of balanced person. And then he has the audacity to wear double Dutch braids like a little girl on school picture day. I am a victim of his fashion choices. I simply asked him, in the mildest way possible, practically whispering, basically didn't even say anything at all really, why he was tattooing his right leg when he said he'd only tattoo his left. It's called consistency, John. It's called not being a liar. And then I made one tiny joke, barely even a joke, more like a casual observation about how hopefully he wouldn't get a face tattoo next. Was that abusive? No! That was mild! That was parenting. And speaking of parenting, let me address this abuse nonsense. I spanked one of the kids, mildly spanked, barely even touched them. It was basically a therapeutic pat for outright defying a direct order. What was I supposed to do? Use positive reinforcement like some kind of parent with healthy communication skills? Please, God beats his children with a rod and scourges them. And let me tell you, my kids have never experienced anything close to that level of biblical love. This whole generation is doomed because they think getting yelled at is abusive. If you don't like being screamed at, that's your problem. That's a you issue. God gave me this voice for a reason, and that reason is to use it ain't violent. When my children dare to question my parenting methods. But John, ungrateful, long-haired, nail polish, pronouns specifying John, he calls CPS on me after I generously allowed him to stay on our car insurance, saving him $530 a month. Do you know what I could do with $530? I could disappear to Germany for a month. Again, like I did last summer when I spent $32,000 taking my kids on vacation instead of leaving my husband, which proves I'm not being abused. Let me make something very clear, because apparently I need to spell this out for the slow people in the back. I have choices, I have access to all the money, all of it. Steve's money, mine, my money, also mine. I'm on 5 business accounts, he's on 0. I have a $75,000 van titled in my name. I could access $80,000 to $100,000 in cash and credit and vanish tomorrow with all 11 remaining children to Europe where we have citizenship, and Steve could do nothing about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have so much power and control and money that if I wanted to leave, I could, but I don't. Therefore, I'm not being abused. That's just logic, that's just facts and evidence and screenshots. My husband, Steve, who is too nice, by the way, which is his biggest fault aside from being too optimistic about people who don't deserve his optimism, has never abused me, never. And I'm 100% certain he never would, even though we fight every 3 to 6 months, which is normal and healthy and definitely not a sign of anything concerning. We are literally at an all-time high in our marriage right now, more in love than newlyweds. I'm just not a sappy person who talks about my marriage publicly, because that's weird, which is why I'm writing a 3,000-word public letter about my marriage. When the CPS worker showed up, unannounced, might I add, which is just rude, she opened the door to a clean house that smelled like freshly baked bread with well-fed, well-dressed children with clean haircuts playing happily in the background. Not because I was expecting her, but because this is my actual reality every single morning. Bread, children, happiness, haircuts. She expected to find children covered in bruises and injuries based on John's report. Can you believe that? My son, who I raised, who I fed, who I allowed to come over for breakfast, wheedly using his key that I gave him, reported me to Child Protective Services, as if I were some kind of protective services worthy parent. So naturally, I did what any reasonable mother would do. I kicked him off the insurance and removed his extended warranty, which is not me being malicious. That's just reasonable. That's just natural consequences for accusing your mother of child abuse. If you can't handle losing your Ford warranty after falsely reporting your parents to the government, maybe you're the problem.
And now he's doing interviews. He's underused with his nail polish and his pronouns and his inconsistent ramblings about how I'm supposedly both an abuser and abused, both a sociopath and a victim, both a terrible mother and someone he visits every week. Pick a lane, John. Choose your own gaslighting and venture elsewhere. Nobody believes a grown man who wears nail polish when he complains about his mother. That's just science, that's just how credibility works. My husband predicted this would happen. He said if John did another interview, it would attack him instead of me, because these godless hosts are really after Pastor Steve. They want to destroy a man who has led tens of thousands to salvation, a man who would step down as pastor and move far away if that's what I wanted, a man who offered me my unicorn daydream life of being a quiet intellectual rancher in the mountains away from humans. But I, being the selfless wife that I am, declined because I only want to support him in what he wants. Am I low-key disappointed in myself for not seizing that offer? Maybe, but that's between me and my clear conscience. In conclusion, I am the victim here. I have the screenshots to prove it. I have the money to prove it. I have the European passports to prove it. I have 64 men from my congregation who listen to me, set the record straight to prove it. And if you don't believe me, well, that just proves you're part of this generation that thinks getting yelled at is abusive. I rest my case. I have clear conscience.